Hey guys, Ron here, and welcome back to the series in which I document my walks around the world and create a few Pokemon based on what I see on my walk. As I stroll, I usually point out all the potential neat stuff I see that could make for some creative new Pokemon designs, and then we'll put them together and draw some cool Pokemon. So I hope you follow along and maybe even tweet at me some Pokemon you created using the stuff you see in this video, or even on your own walks. Leave a like so I know you want more of these, and make sure to check out the previous episode by clicking the card on the top right corner. But for now, let's focus on today's walk. Now this was recorded in the middle of spring, so I decided it would make sense to go to a place that was filled with flowers. Naturally, I went to a museum, but this was a special museum located in a very beautiful place. I decided to go all the way to North Manhattan and enter Fort Tryon Park. Just like in the last episode, I'm entering a part of the city that is filled with nature. It's like I'm not even inside New York City, but this is 100% Manhattan. If we take the path all the way up this hill, we'll arrive at this medieval castle-looking building. This is the Cloister Museum, where the Metropolitan Museum of Art houses its collection of medieval art. We're gonna go inside this stronghold and create some Pokemon based on what we see. And I promise you, they're gonna be epic. But of course, the reason I came here is because the flowers are in bloom. The Cloister has these magnificent gardens. This is a cafe where you can eat while looking at the birds bathe in the fountain, or you can go out to the terrace where they have planted countless medicinal herbs. And if you want, look at the architecture. But the central garden is where it's at. It really feels like I'm a prince in a castle's garden. And this place is free for New York residents, so for no money I get this cool experience. I would love to make a Pokemon that was known to be a favorite among royalty and would live in the gardens of medieval palaces, but what would it be? How about looking at some actual art, because that's what's gonna really inspire the Pokemon I make. Now it's against the rules to film the art, but I can take pictures. Since this was before the Renaissance, the art is all about Jesus or mythical creatures. Like, I'm not gonna make a Jesus Pokemon, but it's pretty funny honestly. Here's Jesus riding a donkey, and here's baby Jesus with an apple. But keep in mind, since this was before art became really good, there was a lack of perspective and correct anatomy, so the people and animals look super weird. Some of it is intentional, but it's hilarious nonetheless. Here's a great example. This is a painting of a unicorn purifying some water. The unicorn looks fine because Europeans know what horses look like, but they rarely saw lions. So look at this lion, it's goofy. And this is a panther, I believe. That's the thing, these wonky looking lions are all around the museum. Back then, lions were considered to be timid, half the time at least. They were even thought to be afraid of chickens. Like the unicorn, they were apparently supposed to represent Jesus, so they were nice and even had humanoid faces. This one has a mustache, for crying out loud. They obviously didn't look like lions, so I have tons of pictures of derpy lions from this museum. Look at them! And I feel like that's the first Pokemon I want to make. Let's pretend like these lions actually existed, like the artists actually painted lions like this because they saw lions that looked like this. So how about a very kind feline Pokemon with the face of a man? Like a way more masculine Absol that people actually liked, because for some reason they were fine with lions but hunted unicorns. Huh, Absol has a horn too. Okay, this makes so much sense now. Absol is part unicorn. Whatever, let's make that lion! I'm gonna start by making a feline body. Of course, the medieval lions are way skinnier and less bulky, so this thing will be pretty skinny. It's gonna be legendary, so I'm going for legendary beast vibes like Raikou and Entei, but derpier. It's gonna have a very short snout, kinda like a dog. Now we don't want to give it a cat nose, but it shouldn't just straight up be a human nose. The mouth is weird. I don't know if I want to make it actually derpy or somewhat fierce. And again, none of the painting actually really correctly depict the mane, so I'm making it look like hair. I decided to give it a mustache. This way it resembles the mustache that some lions have in those medieval paintings, but it also makes it look humanoid without giving him a human face, so we can actually make its face more feline looking now that it actually has a mustache. But I'll make it look more mythical by giving it a beak. Giving it more hair and pupils helps. But that hair isn't the best yet. I want to make it look stylish. Again, not an actual lion's mane, but also very Pokemon-like. And I think this is what I want, but with a bit more detail to differentiate the face from the mane. Adding cheeks also makes it look more humanoid. The lions I saw in the museum had cheeks like this, but let's make it look a lot less skinny. And then we just add spiky fur on the rest of the body to mimic medieval heraldry and the spiky mane, but the paws aren't going to be fully feline, a bit more monstrous, since this is going to be like a monster lion. It's actually a fairy type. It's magical and stuff, so it'll have design aspects of medieval magical beasts. And since basically every mythical Japanese cat has a split tail, I gave this lion a split tail too, cause some medieval lions had those. It'll all work out. And here it is, Pantherald. From Panthera, the genus that includes lions, and herald, which means to bring some kind of news. Also, heraldry is the coat of arms that would occasionally have lions in them, which did inspire this Pokemon's design. It's the Goodwill Pokemon. Pantherold is a calm yet strong Pokemon who brings good news from the battlefields. It's always welcome, and royals would even let it sleep in their gardens. They would occasionally bring Pantherold to help them fight dragons too. Its ability is Charming, which is like Cute Charm, but has only a 20% chance of making the opponent fall in love with it after attacking it. However, this works on both male and female Pokemon. And its other ability is Magic Guard. Its fur is actually very thick, so its defenses aren't half bad. It's loyal, but very independent. This is not a pet. It's basically as intelligent as a human. Now back to the museum. Now I can't film the art, but do these stained glass windows count? There are a ton of them here. I mean, it's a signature of the Middle Ages, so how about making a stained glass Pokemon? And I think I know what I should combine it with. Remember Jesus holding an apple? How about making a little friendly mythical child made out of glass that can create glass sculptures with its powers? Let's do it! So have you ever seen the Kodamas from Princess Mononoke? That's the body shape and even personality. Just some tubby, big-headed kid. And he offers a little apple-shaped sculpture that he made for whomever he encounters. His face has multiple faces, not as in like body faces, but like sides. It's like a dodecahedron or many-sided circular die. It smiles, so you know it's super friendly, and its body is also just fragments of different colored glass, which you obviously can't see in this state, and its eyes are concaved inwards. I was trying to add some fragments of glass on its head, like hair, but it definitely doesn't work. It kinda looks like he has a hand on his head. So honestly, this is the design. Here he is! The Glass Child Pokemon, Adolescent. The Translucent Adolescent. That just means he's a kid with light shining through him. In fact, he can learn almost all light-based moves like Dazzling Gleam, Luster Purge, Flash Cannon. Its special attack actually gets a boost when it's holding one of its glass creations. It's actually another legendary Pokemon since it's timid, but super friendly when it can sense how kind you are. It loves giving glass sculptures as presents. Its ability is Clear Body and a new ability called Light Flare. Since it's very refractive, sometimes light shines through it and blinds the opponent, so physical moves have a slight chance of missing. What a fun Pokemon. Give this boy some love. Let's find inspiration for our last Pokemon. Wherever you go in this museum, you see tons of mythical creatures, like on this arch. Oh, a unicorn horn? This is actually a narwhal horn, but it was sold in medieval times as if it was an actual unicorn horn. It's stuff like this that made people believe they existed. How about this dragon? It doesn't look like any existing Pokemon, so how about making a dragon? But you know, that's not enough for a concept. I mean, there are tons of Christian figures here in this painting. Maybe you can help us. Look what we have here, a demon lady. I think I know what Pokemon I want to make. Maybe this demon lady is actually a Pokemon in disguise. I got the idea because they had this book in the gift shop where you can combine different mythical creatures from around the world and have a dragon and the tail of a Pegasus. Since dragons used to represent the devil, how about I make an evil dragon Pokemon that was able to shapeshift like Zoroark? And maybe in the Pokemon Middle Ages, instead of fearing the devil, they feared this shapeshifting dragon Pokemon. It could be the counterpart to the line that we made previously. So let's make this devil dragon. It's gonna be a wyvern like all the dragons seem to be in medieval art. That means one pair of wings and one pair of legs. Leg or hands, it doesn't matter really. It's very serpent-like, like Rayquaza, honestly. A lot of medieval dragons also had long, crooked, evil noses. And I want horns, but I don't want them to be traditional devil horns. And it's honestly super hard to combine the legs with the wings, but I'm trying. I mean, it looks like a medieval dragon, but not a Pokemon. That's gonna be the main struggle with this design. Again, it's gonna look evil, but I don't want to give it stereotypical dragon horns, so how about a helmet? Like the knights that fought it. It works. Makes it look less like a straight up dragon, and the wings are a bit better, but I'm still having trouble with those arm legs, because they kinda have to look like both. And a lot of medieval dragons have bird aspects, and that usually translates to bird wings, but since I want this Pokemon to have demon wings like the women I saw in the painting, the bird aspect has to be the arm legs. But now it looks crazy because it has the helmet of a steel type, the face of a dragon, the tail of a poisonous snake, the wings of a dark type demon, and the legs of a flying type bird. That's not a bad idea since this Pokemon can transform into any Pokemon, but it still doesn't look good. I want all aspects to fit into the same body. I'm experimenting with the face a bit, but now it looks over-designed. Let's take this design and streamline it. Now the body parts fit a bit more, but its face still looks over-designed. Honestly, the whole design has too much detail for a Pokemon, but let's focus on making the face less disgusting. But it's still ugly because it's evil, but its tail doesn't really seem to connect to the front half of its body, so it's not cohesive yet. But the main problem is that it doesn't look like a Pokemon. I read somewhere that Ken Sugimori, the art director of Pokemon, has a philosophy that when designing a Pokemon, he tries to not make him look too extreme. That means if I'm making a scary, evil Pokemon, I should try to not make it look too monstrous and add some kind of aspect that makes it look cute or friendly. So I'm gonna redesign this Pokemon with the same exact aspects, but make it a bit less monstrous and less flat. So instead of facing the side like in medieval art, it'll be facing us a bit, and honestly, I'm gonna make it a tad more bird-like. I finally found a good structure for the legs and wings, and the tail is the same as before, just less furry. But this is just a quick sketch, let's refine it. So now it looks way more friendly than the previous design, but still dragony. It's not a friendly Pokemon, but it's not super scary. It's deceptive, so it knows when to act friendly to get what it wants. Now I'm making the helmet way less detailed, so it looks like armor that is part of the body and not just a dragon wearing a helmet. Its arm legs are more Pokemon-like, and so are its wings. And honestly, yeah, this looks way better, and it's like an actual Pokemon. And I'm finishing it off with that pointy demon tail that it uses for stabbing, and that's it. Here it is, Lucivern, the Deception Pokemon. This Pokemon is able to transform into other Pokemon. It is said that it once disguised itself as a wealthy queen for 10 years before anybody noticed. Nobody knows what happened to the original queen. It's a dark dragon type with no regrets. Its ability Deception allows it to transform upon entering battle into any Pokemon that has both a type resistance and an advantage against its opponent, as long as you've caught such a Pokemon. The Pokemon it transforms into doesn't need to be in your party though, it just automatically transforms into the strongest Pokemon you have with a type advantage and a resistance against the foe. The ability fails if you don't have a Pokemon that meets these criteria. Once its HP is halved, it transforms back into the original state because it has really good defenses. It fits in perfectly with all the other dragons, even the dragons that aren't actually dragon types like Charizard and Gyarados. Lockston actually has an interesting video as to why Charizard and Gyarados are still not dragon types. Check it out here. But if you came from that video, then check out my other videos. Subscribe and click the bell to get notified when the next episode comes out, and make sure to check the description for my Twitter and my Patreon, where you can get cool rewards like seeing my videos days early. You can click the join button for the same rewards. Bye!